It's day 2 here in Switzerland and filming this video diary to keep you guys posted on what I've learned today. So I've learned a lot today, but a lot of it was, let's say, nitty-gritty theory for the background, and I will cover, let's say, the big concepts because I don't think it makes any sense of what of all the nitty-gritty stuff what I did. So I tried to translate it into the big concepts. So what is really a good thing to do in order to let's say have a culture is that you need both in your, let's say, in your team. So not only analytical people or only people that value let's say friendship or anything. If that is only the case, you need both in order to function, to keep things in balance. And also in terms of rules, so some organizations have very strict rules, some organizations don't have any rules. But how does that like work with the interaction between players, teams, and the whole organization? So I basically made it into a formula when there's no people or just like nothing that is implied to work with people, but only rules to follow, etc. You have a process that you are implying onto the team and you want them to follow it, and they're not really people but more so, let's say, slaves or robot for your rules or system, etc. Then nothing basically will happen because there's no interactions, no evolvement, no differentiation between what the team and the individual needs. So then you also have, let's say, the formula where you have people and no rules. So this is a common thing among esports teams. So even though you have no rules but only people, something will happen because people will innately, so from their nature, together in order to seek what belongs to them, in order to what they like, what they dislike, and sometimes they will, let's say, fight over it. Sometimes they find each other harmony, or they have some healthy or sometimes toxic discussions. At least there's something, but there's not really a boundary what is allowed or what isn't allowed. But at least there's something happening, and it can be either going positive or it can be negative. While when there's only rules, for example, like there's nothing changing because people are not seen for who they are. So what you get in basically stays the same or it gets worse. And when you have only people and no framework or no rules, then it's just something happening, and it can go either plus positively or it can go negatively. But the best way is if you combine those two. If you have people that have a framework where they can move freely in, where you can see the individual and the team in their needs and what they need in order to succeed and have the right coordination to work together and execute on the actions and the processes that you want as a coach or manager or organization, because that is when the best things happen, because you create a vision and a framework or what you want, and everyone knows what the plan is and knows where we are heading as a team and what's going good and what's bad, and then the people decide how to work with those rules together in a flexible way to make the best out of it possible to all move forward and reach the goals of the team and therefore also the goals of the individual. So if you are working with people in a team or in an organization, make sure you have rules in place. But let me also cover that for a little bit, what I mean with rules. So you have rules and agreements, and sometimes for some things you need rules and for other things you need agreements. And if you really want to involve your team and your teammates and the individual and you want to carry them onto the mission, you can have strict rules in terms of culture, what you want to set up and what you want to behave like. But in terms of agreements, it can be, let's say, flexible, because you include the members of your team, and they make the rules. So you co-create That is the key word. You co-create. Let's say also a huge part, I would say the biggest part of the framework within the team. So you have the culture or some ideas that you want to set up, and you share those ideas and see where it feels right as well. Or if you're more, let's say, bigger organization, you have more like, let's say, a set culture, what is allowed and what isn't. So it depends, like, also on the context, obviously, like always. But then engage with your players and the people in the staff, what you want out of it. So that is a huge thing. So co-create the framework. And in order to do that, and also with the culture, with the players that you are in, especially in the new team, create values on the things that everyone wants to agree on and wants to express. But also what I've learned is very powerful is create anti-values. And anti-values are basically the opposite of values. So that means not a list what we want, but also a list of what we don't want, or things that we don't allow, or things that we dislike, that we want to, let's say, push away out of our culture or out of our system. So when other things from the outside come in, or maybe players within the culture misbehave, then you can really know what the boundaries are. So you have that framework with not only like it's vague or only from the inside based on values, but also from the outside, that others from the outside and the inside know what we don't want and what we don't accept within this group. So another interesting thing about team, because we talked a lot about teams as well, and hopefully tomorrow a little bit more, because I got so much questions still. So in movies they always say, or what you heard of, like, oh, there's no I in team. There's no I in team. And what they mean is like there's no individual, the team only matters. And although the team is what you sort of engage with, if you really look closely, there are only I's in the team, because a team is made of individuals. And also you can, what was written on the sheet is that there are only eyes, and it means eyes of looking at, but also the eyes of me. So it's a bit of double-sided as well. And the interesting part is to have a perspective or a mindset of there are only different eyes in the team, that there are different perspectives. So every individual looks from a different angle, through a different lens, one analytical, one more for friendship, one for possibilities, one for building structure, and all of different combinations. So that is really powerful to know that everyone is looking at different perspectives, and that you have to work with each other to work something out that works. So therefore you create the values and anti-values. So another great thing, what is good, is to create a culture of trust, of course, and you do that. And I made a video about that, about the 5 dysfunctions of a team. So the basic layer. So there was a bit of a good point to touch upon again. So it's about building trust. In order to do that, you have to be vulnerable among the team for yourself, and admit mistakes, etc., and really be open and not connect with the words with someone, what I said in yesterday's video of day 1, but also or not also, but connect with the person, the individual, and see the full picture, not only the words or the message that he's sending, but the person in itself. And also what is very good to create a good positive culture, because there's always people that are wanting to behave in one certain way, and they are not wrong, or because many solutions are there, and therefore many people are right in their own way and from their own perspective. So try to get rid of the but word. So I like your pants, but I like your sweater better. Like, if you use the word but, you exclude basically the first one, the thing, and just get conscious about this. And I knew this as well from former trainings. But if you use the word but, or if you hear someone using the word but, everything what that person said before that sentence doesn't is irrelevant. So that's not what he or she wants to message to you. It's only about after the but. So instead of using but, use the word and. So I like your trousers, and I even like your sweater more. That could be a sentence. It's more positive and it has a balance of between two things, and you don't, let's say, neglect one thing and push something else out. So that is really powerful as well to for you guys in order to understand how to create a more positive culture, get together, and value differences between people. So it needs to be a little bit coached, of course, in the beginning because people are making mistakes or they forget it, and that is all good. But you coach them like, okay, you use this, okay, how can you rephrase it and use the word and they have to think because that's not what they meant, but they start to recognize that it can be both good, else they um, excuse me. Else they will push the one answer away instead of embracing both, let's say, options, even though they have a preference one, and that is okay. Everyone has a preference. That's what the whole training in here in Switzerland and whole action type approach is about. That we accept differences and that we acknowledge differences and that we use and put each other in the strength, but also not neglecting, let's say, other perspectives because everything has a use. Um, so yeah, that is a important part as well. And another interesting part. So yesterday, I believe I talked also about motivational drivers that every um, player and every individual just it's about humans basically. So that every human has motivational drivers that are ingrained within the body, and you need that in order to get a move on. So one needs to understand something in order that they can move something. Other one needs to have a bond with the team or share a same interest. Other one just needs competition. Other one needs ideas. Other one just needs to get things going. Other one needs to be coached on trust. And there are 10 different motivational drivers, and there are 12 combinations that are possible. So that is quite interesting. But the thing is, if you want to build a connection with people, so if you are into team building and want to improve, um, let's say, team cohesion and getting on the same page and better synergy, then look for ways what motivates people. And if you know they are motivated with one another, and they can activate it, and you can do activate it with physical movement and test, let's say, trigger points in the body that activates it so you can act, you can express yourself in so many different ways. So that is really important. So the thing that you, if you want to connect and build a connection with people, you have to be motivated for that connection. If you don't feel you are motivated into that connection, like there's no connection even possible because the other person sense it and you're not open for anything that the person is saying or experiencing, and you're just only looking at the message that he's putting out. So that's not working. So if you want to build a connection, be motivated yourself. Just like in school, if you don't like a subject and you're not motivated for it, how will you ever learn? So that is basically the same thing with human beings, what you need, and every person needs a different motivation. Last section, we also were talking about injuries or, let's say, blockages into your muscles or in your neck, or you have these nuts that are just like hurting. But a lot of the time, and most of the time, when you press a point where it's hurting, that's not where the pain is coming from. Oftentimes, it's about, let's say, here or lower, where, let's say, there's a knot that needs to be resolved so the energy can flow again. It can get the right substances into, let's say, the sore spot. So that's why you got the acupuncture, with those dry needles, dry needling, that's what it's called, with certain spots around pain points, etc. So to open up um, the muscle so energy and blood and tension can flow away and just like energy gets released. And tomorrow, I'm looking forward to that in the morning. We start off with an exercise to train peripheral vision. So that means peripheral, you have central vision. So if I would look, let's say here, I'm having central vision, and that's the most sharp and the most precise, but it's slow. Our fastest, let's say, neurons are on the side. Yeah, so it's like if there would be as a spider or a snake there, just like there, we instantly see it, and we can move. That is super fast. But if we see it like there or just like straight in front of us, we're way slower to react, because this is fast but less, let's say, precise. And the more to the middle we watch, or we look, the more precise it is. So in terms of gaming and esports, to have reaction time, that we're need to train our anticipation, because we cannot train our vision, because we have the same vision as the best, let's say, gamers in the world, same eyes, same cells, etc. But what the professional, or at least the best or fastest players do, is they trust their anticipation. They're waiting for certain things to happen, and they did the repetition so many times that they sort of know what they can expect in certain given moments, that they can react on it. So that's why you see some insane plays in Counter-Strike or any other shoot game, or like these insane reactions that are coming from, even though if you are, let's say, a viewer of an esport, and it's like, oh, I didn't even saw it coming, and the player itself saw it already coming around the corner, and it's like, how can you be that fast? Like, it's like they're bending bullets across, like bending bullets across corners. So that is really insane. So tomorrow I will do some practice, and I hope I won't forget to learn that as well, and to maybe video it for you guys to see, because it could be interesting. Sometimes it's a little bit silly, because we did a little bit silly exercise as well in the morning about like stretching and activating DMDs, like the deep motivational drivers. So yeah, that was interesting, with also sound and releasing everything. So it's not spiritual, but if it was from the outside, it looks a bit spiritual, but it's only like inner focus and like activating certain points in your body to perform and to be active and to engage and be ready for the day. So there's so much I can tell, but I'm already almost at 25 minutes. So I think, yeah, this is it. Of course, there's so much more that I can cover, but leave a comment below, like the video, subscribe if you love this type of content, or you're curious about certain specific things. Then comment below, and perhaps I can make a video about it, or I can go more in depth about the lecture, or maybe if you feel like, okay, this deserves a lot of attention. I have no idea what's in what phase or what context you are. So just comment, and yeah, tell me what you think and what could be useful for yourself and other teams, and you want more explanation about, so I can work something out for you and the rest of the community, and all the people that are watching the Next Level Esports video. So yeah, so thank you so much for watching. If you watch it all the way through, not it's not something 25 minutes listening to my ramble talk. So thank you so much. I'm going to bed, going to take a shower, and then sleep, because it's pretty exhausting, not gonna lie, but totally worth it. And still a full at least 4 days to go, with 1 day in break in between. So thank you so much for watching, and see you guys next time. Bye bye.